Yeah. This is Lady Mogul Talk, talking about black excellence. Ladies building legacies, fostering communities. There'll be topics to grow with dynamic sheroes. Time to secure the bag, elevate your goals, yeah. If you gotta grind, go ahead and take some time. Free your mind, leave your worries behind. Expand your possibilities while learning new strategies. Every time with Avery, knowledge will be guaranteed on Lady Mogul Talk.
Welcome back to another segment of Lady Mogul Talk. And I am especially excited for today's guest. I'm sure I say that all the time, but I mean, we just have so many amazing guests. And then during our pre conversation, we just talked about some things to think on. So that makes me especially excited for today's conversation with Harli G. As the human resources partner for Gas South, the largest retail natural gas provider across 14 states, Harli G is an experienced HR professional who creates value by building community. And in her role, she fosters positive employee relations, oversees workforce performance management, provides organizational consultations, manages onboarding, and promotes leadership development. Outside of her professional goals, Harli is actively involved in bettering the community, and she is so involved as the chair of the Northwest YMCA board, a member of North Cobb Rotary Club, a mentor through the Cobb Chamber mentoring program, and a member of the United Way of Greater Atlanta African American Partnership. So, if you couldn't tell by her bio, we have a phenomenal guest for you today, and I'm so excited to welcome her to the stage. Hello.
Yay, hi. Oh my gosh. I was like, what? I do that. I do that too. Like it's so weird hearing somebody talk about your bio. It's so
Right. It I can relate to that because I'm like, oh, when they read my bio, I need to bring them because they're like my hype people. We
yes.
forget what we do. And
Yes.
I want to start off that with that point.
Mhm.
You wear so many hats, both professionally and personally. How
Mhm.
do you, I don't like to say, they know I don't like to say the word balance. I say prioritize. How do you
Mhm.
prioritize the many things that you do?
So that's such an amazing question. And the reason why I'm gonna answer it, but I'm not my answer will be kind of weird because I'm gonna be completely transparent with you and say sometimes it all goes out the window. Between being a mom, between being I actually recently stepped down from corporate and now I'm full-time entrepreneur. So I'm trying to figure out that life. I know. And then of course my purpose, which is podcasting, coaching now. I'm just glad that it's summertime. Let me just say that because I don't have to worry about I still have to worry about one, but all the different moving parts and it ebbs and flows. There are seasons where I feel like I'm on top of it and my prioritization is on point and I'm like, yes, I am doing this. And there are seasons where I wake up and I'm just like in tears because I'm like, how is all of this going to happen today? And really, at the end of the day, is giving myself grace, which I'm still learning how to do that.
Mhm.
But reminding myself that I'm just one person and my community, my family, they understand that I'm not perfect and that sometimes I'm going to drop the ball. Uh,
Mhm.
but we'll get through it, whatever it is.
So I love the transparency here. Even though you've stepped into full-time entrepreneurship, which by the way, congratulations for taking that.
Thank you.
I love the fact that you were honest about having a 9 to 5 at that time with entrepreneurship because we tend to glamorize, oh yeah, entrepreneurship needs to be full-time now. But sometimes
Mm-mm.
to stick with our 9 to 5 for several reasons, but also financial because that can contribute to our business investments, or we can use those skills to translate into our entrepreneurial ventures. So have you found that there have been synergies where you've taken your corporate background and now it has translated into when you were part-time entrepreneurship, but definitely full-time?
Absolutely. It is the accumulation of everything that I've done so far. And in major part, where we spend most of our time is in the workforce, right? You're at work all day. So it is absolutely everything that I have learned, good, bad, ugly, so far in the corporate environment that now I'm bringing into my entrepreneurship. And it's also highlighting the places where there are opportunities. Okay. And but it's great to know, like, I feel like at first it was a little bit of a shock. And I had been in corporate for so long that I had that corporate mindset, and I knew that, right? You wake up and you just do it. My mindset had to shift. And that's not something that you can necessarily prepare yourself for. I mean, you can do some things, but until you're really in it, you really don't know. And once I shifted and became a full-time entrepreneur, I have to say that it was a journey getting to where I needed to be.
Mhm,
Especially my mindset, my routine was completely different,
mhm,
and I'm very much of a routine person, and so that took some time for me to kind of find my rhythm and where I was.
mhm.
And it just like it's just, but it's been amazing, and I would not change where I am for anything. And I'm talking about right after I stepped down. This was only a few months ago. Like I felt like I went dark. I went black. To be honest with you, because it was just like something that I've been used to doing for so long, I'm no longer doing. And that was a huge part of my identity, even though I prepared for this. But I didn't realize what the impact was going to be, how much the impact was going to be once I was completely away from that environment. So there was a lot of, I feel like I had to walk by faith blindly. That's what I had to do. And I'm still doing it. But I feel like I've finally gotten around the corner to where I wake up every day and I'm so excited about building my business, um, having connecting with individuals, building relationships like with Lady Mogul Talk, and just like it's so amazing to wake up and get an invitation to come on Lady Mogul. I was like, this is great, and I just don't know if that opportunity would have happened otherwise. And so to be able to focus on this, grow this purpose, walk on this journey is probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever done.
So many points to unpack right there. I'm like, wait, I had a point. And I was like, oh, that's good too. Again. So we'll go back to the beginning and talk about mindset because that really is the foundation for anything, for having a successful career, having a successful business, having a successful personal life. And I wish I could zero in on the Instagram post that I saw yesterday, just talking about the difference in perspective of approaching the same problem. So I want to first expound upon mindset. What advice would you have for those individuals who said, okay, this is great and all, but still I have those doubts in my head?
Hmm. That that is something that you're never going to be able to get away from. I don't care how 200% sure you are going to have doubts. That's just part of it. And I would say don't fight it. Like go through it. You have your circle. I think for me, when those moments happen, I have my circle of like 4 or 5 people that I know without a shadow of a doubt will be honest mirrors for me, and they absolutely will tell me the truth, right? Out of love. And so I know that there are a few people that I could go to if I'm having those doubts, and they can be kind of like a sounding board for me. And so just using those individuals, and of course, first and foremost, God, um, because no matter where I am, what kind of doubts I'm having, if I give it to him, he will always show me a way or answer or send a sign or something, right? And so those are really, when I'm having doubts, those are my go-to. God first, and then those 4 or 5 people that are just my foundation, my rock. Those individuals, I know that if I go to them with something, they're going to be my sounding board.
That's a very great point that you bring up. And I love that you mentioned that you have your tribe that you can go to. And
Mhm.
having those seasoned individuals who can pour life into you or be that accountability person for you is so important. And I can speak from personal experience. I recently was brought into a small group of 4 of us where I feel like I can go to them for business advice or even we're starting to cultivate personal relationships, but it's just a wonderful entrepreneurial group to be in and have that again that accountability or that check. And so that's so important. That was another point that you mentioned, but it'll come to me.
Okay.
Yeah. But so many great gems, and I hope the audience is taking this to heart because you are dropping gems. Now, going back to your bio, we saw that you are a part of several community organizations. So, can you tell us some core values that led you to these organizations and just the trajectory that you're on now?
Wow. So I'm gonna go back a little bit.
Mhm.
And so my parents are Haitian from Haiti. And growing up, part of that Haitian culture instilled in us was community. That community piece is huge. You can't move to the Haitian culture without feeling some sense of community. I mean, you just can't. And so that was kind of instilled in me, but still did not recognize it until much later. And so I went to high school, graduated with a community service tassel. That's just how much community service I had done. I was like, yes. Went to college. Still, that sense of community was always there. And then when I was getting into corporate, I started noticing that I would migrate to those positions or those individuals or those causes that involve some way, somehow serving the community.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until recently when I was having a conversation, probably a couple of years ago, I was having a conversation with someone and I actually realized that. I didn't know, I was just kind of doing it,
Mhm.
but I didn't realize that until like maybe a couple of years ago. I'm like, why is it that I'm always volunteering? I'm always serving on something. I'm always doing something. And actually maybe it was around when my parents came to they came to visit me around the pandemic.
Mhm.
They had just left Haiti and they were telling me about the conditions in Haiti and how at any given point, any given time in Haiti, you have a homeless person walking into your house asking for food. And that's how they live. Like the community just feeds them.
Mhm.
They're able to walk around freely and the community feeds them, takes care of them. And I was just like, huh. And that's when I realized that I was like, wow, we have been raised with that mindset. That mindset has been with me all along. And that's what pulls me into serving on
Mhm.
organizations that have amazing missions. The one that's especially close to me that I will bring up is the YMCA. And the reason why I say the YMCA is I was actually on the board pre-pandemic.
Mhm.
I was serving, but I was serving because it was like this cute thing to do, to be honest with you. I was like, yeah, I'll be on the board. That sounds great. The pandemic hit and I saw how the YMCA stepped up and served the community, specifically children.
Mhm.
how they fed them, how these children, now that they were home, they were not getting fed at all, because typically the one meal that they did receive was at school.
Mhm.
Now we were home, so these kids did not have any hope. They didn't know where their next meal was going to come from. The YMCA went into those homes and served them food every single day. They organized drive-bys so that families could come and pick up groceries. They could pick up food. They could pick up meals. And I was like, it's not just a gym. Yes, I do go there and I do work out. But after 2022, they opened a few crunch gyms, fitness around me, and so people started leaving the Y and going to crunch. And I said, you can leave it, you can leave and go to crunch, but what the Y has to offer is completely different than crunch. I'm with the Y because they have my loyalty. They're
Mhm.
an organization that I have seen serve the community. The same kids that go to school with my kids got fed during the pandemic. When the first responders had to go to work, they didn't have a choice, right? Our Northwest YMCA allowed these first responders, whether you were part of the Y or not, to come and drop off their kids all day there. And so, because of that mission, because of what I have firsthand seen and experienced, they have my loyalty for life. So, if how I can give back is just serve on the board, then that's what I'm going to do.
And you have highlighted the importance for number one, having these community organizations, but also giving our time because even if we are having a hard time, there's always someone who is having an even harder time. And you
So,
never know what someone is going through. Yes, all the glitz and glam of social media, but people need assistance. And sometimes it just might take that one opportunity to get them to that next level. So it is important. I think you're like the first person we've talked about the importance of community organizations. And it might have been touched upon, but not to the same extent. So I'm so happy that you have illustrated the importance of organizations like this. And I used to be a very big volunteer, and I still try to on occasion.
mhm.
You can there's always something you can do, whether it's
It's always
time
going to be.
or
Yeah,
even giving like free sessions on occasion and showing your expertise. So thank you for that. And thank you for your service.
thank you.
Now, switching gears a little bit, you have a background in human resources. And so I want to touch up on your expertise for those individuals who might not have a team yet, but they're like, I want to start thinking about team building and getting those HR resources lined up. What advice would you have for them to start that journey?
Um, so for individuals that are starting to build out their team, their organizations, and they kind of don't know where to go, where to start, or whatever. Okay, well, one of the things that I highlight is core values. So first and foremost, I would tell that individual, what are your core values? Right? So I would have that individual identify their own personal core values. And then if they don't, then we can go on this journey and we can figure out what they are. But once they've identified their core values, because a leader, for you to lead, you have to know who you are.
Hmm.
And for you to build a team, you have to know who you are and how are you going to be able to be that leader that will motivate, that will inspire, right? And so once we have identified your core values, now you're ready to build your team. Let's figure out what that team is going to look like. But we're going to identify that through core values. So now you have your own core values. Let's figure out what the team core values is going to look like. What are you looking for? What are you trying to build? Because when you have identified that, it's more than just a paycheck. It's more than just, I'm going into work, I'm going to clock in, I'm going to clock out. But let's say you have an employee and your core value is connection. And then as you're building this team, you you acknowledge that connection is something that's important to you and that the team needs to have. Now, when you go to hire someone and you're having conversations with them, and that core value stands out in the interview, not only is your core values aligned, theirs is aligned, and the organization is aligned.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how do you think this employee is going to show up every day? Knowing that they're going to be able to demonstrate and walk in their core values every day through what they do. So, this builds engagement. This builds up the culture. This builds loyalty. I mean, it's just at the end of the day, yes, you want to be able to make a profit, but you're going to be able to make a bigger profit when you can align someone's core values and mission to that of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
So first and foremost, I would say focus on who you are and what you stand for and what those core values are going to be. Then once you have that component, then you start building on it and finding individuals that align with that mission and those core values. And that's how you're able to have high engagement in a company, in an organization. That's how you're able to become, the number one great place to work, because people are going to feel motivated to go into work every single day if they do something that aligns with their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
I can speak to that. I am a testament because I used to think I was a terrible employee until I realized a few things. Number one, I had to view that the work was important and I could make a meaningful contribution to it. I
Mm-hmm.
needed to know that if I didn't get my part done, this impacts X, Y, Z. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to mess up that.
Yeah.
And also, going back to alignment, there were things that I was voluntold to do that was not a part of my original description. And that really contributed to how I showed up. I was like, I don't want to do this. And so you shared some very great gems about how alignment and core values is really essential, the heart of a good team, because if you don't align that, it can really impact the way they show up and then the way that that your company has success. And then you'll be like, oh, it's that employee's fault. When in
Yeah,
reality, you should have had that alignment.
exactly.
I love that. That's great advice, especially as I continue to increase my team members because I have some more jobs that I need to post. I
Yes.
need to keep that in mind.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, I want to pivot back to you. You have accomplished so much, and I know there's more to come. So, number one, what would you say to date is your best accomplishment? Even though I know it's many and might be hard. And then what is next for you?
Ooh. Well, my best accomplishment, hands down, I would say me discovering my ultimate purpose. It was always there, right? I was born to do it. I was here for a specific purpose. But me being able to tap into that and discover that, I think that's probably one of my biggest accomplishment, because once you have that and then you can align that, you can pretty much align that with everything that you do. And when you're walking in that purpose, that passion shows up automatically. The impact that it makes is phenomenal. It's multiplied, it's amplified when you're walking in your purpose. So that is so far one of my biggest accomplishments is being able to tap and discover my ultimate purpose. And then what's next is that purpose. See, when I discovered my purpose, which was back in 2021 during the pandemic, I was just like, yes, I'm going to start a podcast that would allow me to demonstrate and walk in my core values every day, which my core values are passion, energy, connection, and influence. And that's when I decided that I was going to start my own podcast. And I was like, I wanted to motivate and inspire individuals to tap into their ultimate purpose, because I had firsthand experience and seen what happens, how you get transformed when you finally find that ultimate purpose. And I wanted to share that with other people. I wanted to motivate them to find it and discover it, what it really is for them. And so I was like, ooh, I'm going to start a podcast that will enable me to bring individuals on this platform to give their stories and their experience a voice. And in doing so, someone else that's going through that is able to say, oh my gosh, I thought it was just me. They don't feel like they're in it alone. They feel like there's hope, there's motivation, there's inspiration. And I thought, okay, I found my purpose. I'm done. That's it. Goodbye. Hang up the hang up the microphone. And what I quickly discovered was like, no, it continues to evolve. It continues to grow. It continues to impact people in different ways. And so what's next for me? And then that's how I ended up going into coaching, because now it's like, oh, I've talked about it to individuals, and I've told them, yes, go find your purpose, go do it. And then people are like, but I don't know how. And so I was like, oh, okay. So that got me into coaching. So I started coaching. And then now it's building this women's community. That's really what's coming up next, is really focusing on that, the IG, the Inside the Bubble, women's community, where I want women to feel like they never have to dim their light,
Mm.
ever. Because when I was raised, I was told, you're a lady. You can only be seen and not heard. You're a lady. You need to act like this. You're a lady. You need to present yourself like this. You're a lady. You need to say this, talk like this, look like this, do this. And in doing so, every single time, kind of dimming that light, because now I'm just conforming to what everybody wants me to be, and got to a point where I if you came to me and say, who is Harli, I couldn't tell you who Harli was. I didn't know how to describe myself. I didn't know who I was, which was so important, for me when I discovered my core values. But I don't want women to feel that way. I want women to be like, if you're loud, be the loudest person in the room. If you are rambunctious, be the most rambunctious person you can be. I want this community to allow women to shine their light so bright that it's blinding, because their light is leading somebody else. And so that's what's next for me. It's really focusing on that women's community, providing that place for them, holding that space for them to shine their light.
That is amazing. I am so happy to know you, and definitely will be keeping tabs. I mean, I am already, but still keeping more tabs on what's coming next. And this is the perfect segue to plug in your platform. Tell us how we can keep up with you, social media, website, and anything else.
Yes. So Inside the Bubble with Harli G, it's a podcast specifically focusing on superwomen, because we know we do everything, right? We wear so many hats, as we were talking about earlier. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I was a co-worker, I'm an entrepreneur now. I was a teacher during the pandemic. That was epic fail, by the way. To my kids. I mean, like, we're the one who have to call and make the husband's doctor's appointment. I'm like, wait a minute. I have the same phone you have, but I have to call your doctor and set your appointment. But anyway, I digress. We wear so many hats, so many roles, and at the end of the day, we just want to be able to take off our capes and hang them somewhere. And this is where Inside the Bubble with Harli G comes in. We're able to talk about mental health. We're able to talk about, oh my gosh, I had to take 3 kids to practice today, and I forgot to pick up this one. I was 15 minutes late when I picked up that one, and I had to deal with this issue at work, and I'm trying to get my own business going. And it's just having that community, that platform, where it's a safe place. That's why you're inside the bubble. So it's a safe place for you to just come, let your hair down, hang up your cape, and just be. And shine your light, of course. But so that's what Inside the Bubble with Harli G is we are on Instagram, Inside the Bubble HG. And then as far as listening to the pod, it's on all your podcast streaming platforms, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, all of them. We are gearing up to launch season 3 of Inside the Bubble with Harli G. Oh my gosh, I got chills. And so we're having a preview party tomorrow for that. And come Monday, first episode of season 3 will drop. Season 3 will be about purpose and faith. And I will give you a little snippet. I came up with this series idea maybe over a year ago. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do a series on purpose and faith because I just think those are so important. And my business manager was like, great. The time came to film the series. And I went to probably one of the darkest experience I've ever been through, stepping down from corporate. And through that, I kept asking, why? Why did it have to happen that way? Why me? Why? Just really questioning God and where I was. And he answered me. He was like, so let me get this straight. You want to put out a series on purpose and faith and you're not going to have a purpose and faith experience?
You will get us all the way together.
He snatched me all the way up. He was like, oh yeah. Okay. I got you. So I had to go through that experience. And his timing is always perfect, right? But for me to go through that experience at the specific time that I was getting ready to record this series, I mean, his timing, I tell you. So I'm excited about this. These individuals have stories that, make sure you have your Kleenex next to you. Invite a couple of girlfriends, listen to it together because I'm sure it's going to bring up, emotions and conversations and even more things to talk about. So that's coming up. And I'm so excited about it. And please make sure that you guys stay updated on Instagram because we'll be dropping previews, reels, behind the scenes. I mean, this is like next level. So I'm so excited about it to share these individuals' journeys and experience on this platform and to be able to motivate, even if it's just one person. So that is what is coming up next. And then we're going to be focusing on the women's community as well.
I love it. I am excited for you. Again, congratulations because that is amazing. You see so many platforms come and go, but 3 years in, congratulations for that. I have absolutely enjoyed our time together, but as we wrap up, is there one final piece of advice you want to share with the audience?
Ooh, what would that be? Okay. Yes, there is. My tagline on the show is there's purpose in your story. And I want to let the audience know that no matter what that story is right now, no matter what that experience is right now, you may not be able to see it. Sometimes you'll never, there are some experiences and stories that you go through that you'll never know why, but know that there's a purpose in there. And know that that story, that experience is a witness, a testimony to someone else that is going through the same thing. And so hang in there because yes, there is a purpose to your story.
A great way and a beautiful way to end this segment. Thank you, Harli G, for joining us today. I have enjoyed this conversation, and I'm sure our audience has as well. And I can't wait to celebrate with you. Yay.
Yes.
Well, thank you, everyone. This has been another segment of Lady Mogul Talk, and we will see you in the next section.
Yes.